Courteney Cox breaks her silence on Neve Campbell's absence from Scream 6 to express how disappointed she is. The events of the upcoming installment of the venerable slasher series will take place outside of Woodsboro for the second time, after a new Ghostface attacked the new group of survivors in New York City. Even though Hayden Panettiere's Kirby and Cox's Gale Weathers will return, Scream 6 has already caused controversy by not casting Campbell as Sidney Prescott because of a rumored pay dispute. Courteney Cox provided some insight into the eagerly awaited Scream 6 while chatting with Variety about receiving her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. When questioned about Neve Campbell's unexpected departure from the follow-up, the Gale Weathers actor admitted that she missed working with her longtime co-star, but sent her support for her choice and teased her own encounter with Ghostface. Cox admitted that she had missed working with her, but that she would stand by whatever she believed to be correct. She mentioned having a great scene with Ghostface, which she thought was amazing. She continued by saying that although she had obviously been stabbed numerous times and such, working with Ghostface and not knowing who was hiding behind the mask at the time had been a lot of fun. She explained that typically she recognized the attacker by the time she was being stabbed.
I mean, we always have different storylines, but she's always missed because she's an incredible actor and girl.
As Scream 6 approaches, Cox is the most recent of Campbell's numerous co-stars from throughout the years to express their support for her absence. The split decisions between her and the producers most likely had to do with business, according to David Arquette, whose stint as Dewey Riley ended in Scream 2022. On the other hand, Matthew Lillard, as well as a newcomer Melissa Barrera and Jasmine Savoy Brown, have all been outspoken in their defense of Campbell, criticizing the decision to not pay the franchise's leading man or woman appropriately is a setback for gender equality in cast salaries. Despite the controversy surrounding her absence from Scream 6, the actor has shown restraint when speaking about a future reunion. Just 1 month after leaving, Campbell stated that she would be open to returning if the offer made matched the value that I bring them, and that she did care about the franchise as a whole as well as its new directing team. Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette from Radio Silence. Given that Campbell has expressed interest in returning, it would seem a missed opportunity for a potential Scream 7 to leave her out. Only a few of the many potential solutions for how Scream 6 might handle the absence of Sidney Prescott, the central character and star of the Scream franchise played by Neve Campbell, are likely to win over viewers.
What do you think? Trap.
Moving on from a franchise's original main character is never easy. The change to a new lead character is more difficult, though, when the original star is still available and has decided not to appear in the most recent sequel. For instance, Neve Campbell was a strong candidate to reprise her role as the iconic final girl Sidney Prescott in Scream 6, but the franchise's producers were unable to secure the star's participation during wage talks. Although the best legacy killer from Scream 6 might still appear in the follow-up, Campbell's absence unquestionably affects the movie's relationship to the rest of the Scream series. Since the first Scream movie, Sidney Prescott has been the series' protagonist. Because of this, a Scream sequel without her will find it difficult to match the mood and atmosphere of previous franchise entries. Additionally, Scream 6 will eventually need to address her absence, which will be challenging for the follow-up. Sidney's departure will probably enrage viewers if it's overplayed, but ignoring the star of the Scream films would be worse for Scream 6. While Scream 6 may contain some tragic surprises, it would be too dark if they killed off Sidney before the next installment. The worst course of action for the franchise would be to reveal, before the action even began in Scream 6, that Ghostface had successfully tracked down and killed Sidney. This would betray the character, defame her legacy, and remove all motivation for the audience to care about the rest of the narrative. Although Sidney's personal journey is at the center of the slasher series, and this twist would end it dishonorably, the Scream movies are beloved for their twisty mystery plotting, their meta-humor, and their tense suspense sequences. It would be quite shameless and audacious if Campbell's character was never mentioned by the Scream 6 characters, who survived a massacre with Sidney a year before the sequel takes place. Although it will probably seem absurd and strange, this might actually work. Gale is the only character who had a long-term relationship with Campbell's character in Scream 6. Though the trailer for the film made it clear that Kirby Reed and Gale would also be back. Sydney was the only person Tara, Sam, and Kirby had ever met, so it wouldn't be absurd for them to never mention her. Even so, Sydney is the only character to have beaten Ghostface in 5 different forms. So this might still seem absurd. Campbell won't be in Scream 6, but that doesn't mean Sydney can't at least have a happy ending in the follow-up.
Anyone hiding, killer or not, you have 5 seconds to show yourself.
Scream 6 might contain a scene in which Gale claims that Sydney and her family are contently residing on the other side of the country and completely free from Ghostface's threats. After all, she has a romantic interest and 2 young children, according to Scream 5. It was an unfortunate shock to learn that Sydney wouldn't be returning for Scream 6 after the sleeper hit success of Scream 5. Therefore, the franchise should at least pay homage to the character. The unlikely fan theory that Sydney ended up dating her Scream 3 love interest was even confirmed in Scream 5, so Scream 6 wouldn't need to do much to maintain the character's happy ending in this sequel. Sydney could have prioritized her family's safety, but Scream 5 saw her go out of her way to return to Woodsboro and defeat Ghostface, and Scream 6 could see her do the opposite, Gale ending up in New York City after Scream 2022 killed off Dewey and ended any chance of their reunion is understandable. But Sydney would never relocate to such a heavily populated area. If the producers and actors of Scream 6 were able to keep fans from learning about Campbell's comeback until the sequel's release, it would be a pretty amazing feat. It would also be a repulsive publicity stunt, as Campbell has been open about the effect that not getting to play Sydney again had on her ever since negotiations with the star of the Scream series broke down. However, this kind of stunt casting has been done before.
For everything. Are you gonna be all right? I'll survive.
Due to his rule against sequels, John Cusack decided not to return for Hot Tub Time Machine 2, but he did make a surprise cameo appearance at the end of the unrated version. But even more shocking would be Sydney's return. In contrast to the other villains and victims in the franchise, Stu's name was colored differently on the Scream 6 poster, so Matthew Lillard's potential return would at least make sense. This is especially true considering Skeet Ulrich's unexpected appearance as Billy Loomis, the villain from the original Scream in Scream 2022. However, it's still theoretically possible that Scream 6's allusions to Stu's reappearance were a ruse, and Campbell might be reprising her role in a hidden cameo, since Sydney is the murderer this time around. But going down this road would probably not be the best course of action for the people who made Scream 6. This plot twist not only made the beloved Scream heroine the antagonist of the follow-up movie, but it also necessitated that the entire cast participate in a lengthy performance of kayfabe for a full year. In light of this, Scream 6 should avoid this Scream franchise twist. That's all for today. Till next time, cheers!